Tonight, on Most Daring, it takes a special kind of stupid to make blunders this big. And when these blockheads screw up, they fall into two categories: dumb and dumber. First up, misplaced explosives leave one demolition crew leaning toward retirement.
This is not exactly what they had planned.
Then, two skydivers get tangled at 6,000 feet. Will it be their final mistake? And later, they may look pretty, but when it comes to riding horses, these airheads need a mental makeover. Plus, we unveiled this week's Unfreaking Believable. And we're really going balls out. Are they careless? Or just clueless? Nobody's perfect. On Most Daring, Dumb and Dumber.
I think we're just about ready for the button to be pushed.
It's time for a good old-fashioned building demolition in Sioux Falls.
10, 9, 8.
The crowds have turned out to watch an old feed mill get cleared away for a brand new landmark.
1, go!
The Leaning Tower of South Dakota.
This is not exactly what they had planned.
The idea was to blow out one side of the base, causing the structure to tip over. So close, yet so bungled.
What did your demolition experts tell you when they saw this happen? What'd they say?
I don't know if I can tell you what he said, but...
We get the idea.
Yeah.
It will take a wrecking ball and several days of slamming to finally finish the job. Because what they wanted was to go out with a bang. What they got was a 20-story badge of shame. It's a major drug state, and cops have to break into this crack house before the dealers flush the evidence. But as police get in position to blow the doors, their own plan nearly comes unhinged. That's probably not how that was supposed to go. An officer stands in the wrong place and gets turned into a human doorstop. The lawman is able to shake it off as his partners storm the hideout. He's right behind them, tail between his legs. The task force eventually scores 12 arrests and one very big bust. Extreme skydivers love a challenge. And the aerial stunt these thrill jockeys are attempting is just that. This formation requires absolute precision, so there is little room for error. Unfortunately, pro Mike Lewis is about to make one. And at 6,000 feet in the air, it might just be his last. Mike's not supposed to break formation until the guy above him takes off. But he jumps the gun. And his canopy gets wrapped around his partner. Now, it's two men, one chute, and 30 seconds to go before they all hit the ground. As the clock ticks down, Mike thinks fast and cuts away to deploy his backup. Sure, he's safe. But now he's left his buddy tangled in his chute, literally flying blind. 20 seconds till impact. The man struggles to free himself. Finally, he tears away the canvas, and with just 10 seconds to spare, pulls his reserve. The high-flying ordeal is over. But on the ground, Mike may have some serious apologies to make. Both men are fortunate they could correct the mistake of taking off too early, before it was too late. When your chosen profession is liquor store robber, you've already proven you're dangerously dumb. But when this robber targets this liquor store, it's a screw-up of the highest caliber. Armed with a gun, the thug assumes the solitary worker is an easy target. He's gravely mistaken. The cocky crook actually lowers his weapon. And the quick-draw cashier pulls his own. A bullet to the armpit puts a stamp on the thief's stupidity. His adrenaline gets him out the door and on the run. But with his face on camera and his DNA splattered across the pavement, he leaves an easy trail for police to track. The brazen bandit thought he could call the shots because he was packing heat. But he was wrong. Nearly dead wrong. Sogamoso, Colombia. Though not ideal for truckers, this treacherous mountain pass can cut days off an otherwise long trip. But if maneuvering the path is already sketchy in the best of conditions, trying it after weeks of mudslides is downright moronic. If only this driver saw it that way. The man on the 18-wheeler lines his front tires up, but forgets about the remaining 16. As the back wheels slip, they threaten to pull the whole rig down the 100-foot cliff. Sadly, the accident is not without casualties. Oh, the driver's just fine. But hundreds of cases of beer now lie shattered, never to be savored again.
Still to come, many more mindless morons. But first, see what leaves a driver asking, which one's the brake pedal? Then it's a fact, ninjas are cool. This kung fool is no ninja. And what happens when a painfully preoccupied protester forgets to look both ways? The screw-ups ain't pretty. On Most Daring, Dumb and Dumber.
Ready to crank the celebration up with a joyous group dance on a rickety dance floor that's loosely built over an empty pool. Is there a doctor in the house? The weight is too much, and the bouncy crowd gets dry docked in the deep end. Time for some engineers to get their diplomas revoked. Although no one was hurt, this was nearly the fastest that a bunch of new MDs ended up in the hospital. Bay County, Michigan.
St. Sash?
In their day-to-day, convenience store clerks Linda and Holly deal with plenty of dim-witted customers. But they don't usually threaten their lives, like this absent-minded patron. The woman behind the wheel accidentally hits the gas instead of the brake. And Linda gets floored. Store owner Walt Dominowski can't believe what just happened.
And all of a sudden it sounded like a bomb going off. The next thing I knew is the girls were on the floor.
Incredibly, the fallen clerk gets up, virtually unscathed. Walt makes sure the driver is okay too. Okay to answer some serious questions.
She said she hit the wrong pedal. From me looking at the cameras, I don't think she tried to stop at all.
Any way you slice it, it was one big slip-up that took everyone down. At a martial arts competition, it's all about showing off. And breaking 9 cement bricks is more than enough to wow the crowd. Still, this black belt thinks he can turn up the heat with little gas. What could possibly go wrong? The tough guy warms up, but nothing will prepare him to feel this burn. The mighty chop coats his arm with fuel, and flailing only makes it worse. A safety worker quickly douses the flames. Probably should have done that before the stunt. Outside of some crispy skin, the Sinja will be okay. And though this kung fu master may not be able to call himself the best, for a split second, his moves were on fire. In Kenya, a political demonstration quickly turns violent. Rioters lash out at their own community, forcing cops to move in with water cannons. Looters do everything they can to stop the patrol. And as far as roadblocks go, this heavy yellow mailbox works perfectly. The spaced-out protester, on the other hand, not quite as much stopping power. An activist is so wrapped up in the cause, he steps right in front of a bus and gets mowed down. His head lands on the pavement, just inches from being crushed. It's a miracle he's able to stumble off to safety. Before long, authorities get everyone to hit the road. Of course, this guy already did that. A wedding should be one of the most memorable days in a person's life. Hopefully, for the right reasons. At these nuptials, Edward Maturo serves as his son's best man, and he seems determined to prove it.
Oh, shoot.
His first time in a tuxedo is a real eye-opener.
Oh, shoot. I was so embarrassed. The pants have loops on its side to tighten up your pants. Did not know what they were for.
Fortunately, the bride and groom are good sports.
Just in get direct before we die.
As for the audience, they have no idea how close they came to seeing the old balls and chain.
That day I happened to have underwear on. I never, ever wear underwear.
tears of laughter or relief? At least the ceremony won't go down as the day the father of the groom became a complete ass.
Coming up, some guys can't catch a break. First, a flub at a funeral is a good way to reach an early grave. And what's more idiotic than driving on ice? This guy will show you step by step. And it's this week's Unfreaking Believable. And it's hitting below the black belt. It's all going down next on Most Daring, Dumb and Dumber.
Cranes are the muscle of shipping ports. So when a crane truck becomes disabled, it's important to get it to a service bay immediately. After all, the last thing these workers want is for bum equipment to wreck the whole operation. Note, when using a crane to lift a crane, be sure to check the crane's crane-bearing capabilities. Good thing the coast was clear under the monstrous load. But then there's this heavy lifter. Which can't handle the pressures of the job. Workers miscalculate the counterweights on the arm, and the very device that should build things up comes crashing down. At first glance, it appears the misstep's only casualty is a tree. But the ballast unleashes a one-ton karate chop on the street below, crushing the front of a car. Had the driver left home 1 second earlier, he'd be a pothole now. Fortunately for both of these crews, the biggest mess they made was to their reputations. How do you keep foot traffic moving through a busy office building? With automatic revolving doors. This one only goes one way. And yet a pedestrian on the street is about to enter the wrong way. With his head down, the man comes in against the flow and turns this businessman into a slam sandwich. The bumbling offender claims he didn't notice the employee leaving. True or not, at least you can say he knows how to make an entrance. In the United Kingdom, there's a reason there are no other cars on this ice-covered road. But driver Stuart Duncan hasn't figured it out yet.
I'm like trying to turn into it, turn out of it, and I'm thinking, yes, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it.
He doesn't make it. Finally, after several minutes of spinning his wheels, the stubborn man decides it's safer to walk. Just another thing he's wrong about.
Are you alright?
Slippery Stu flips, flops, and flounders on the frozen pavement, looking for a foothold, while his wife behind the camera just looks.
You okay?
Vicky's sitting there filming me. I know she's watching me, and I know I've just fallen flat on my face.
She's content to let him wallow in his own failure. maybe in the future he'd be better off not moving at all. A funeral is a somber time to reflect on the life of a loved one, to honor what they've meant to you, and to give them one final moment of dignity as you lower them into the... Well, so much for dignity. One pallbearer isn't paying attention as they remove the support board, and he takes a 6-foot header. And you thought the deceased was having a bad day. The fiasco even causes another mourner to faint. The cemetery grounds crew will have to get the man out and finish the burial themselves. Because when these volunteers took on more than they could handle, they dug their own grave. It's opening night for Greenport High School's production of Peter Pan. And while there are a number of ways actors in the spotlight can bomb, these kids are mere puppets to the backstage amateurs pulling the strings. Keep this up, and the thespians really will break a leg. The biggest snafu of the night happens when actress Dory Lieblein catches an unexpected flight to Never Never Land.
I felt a tug, and I went right into the air, and I couldn't control myself. I couldn't stop myself from going into that window. I was very mortified at what the audience was going to think of us.
But the crowd gives the kids a pass, and Dory tries to stay positive about her budding career.
Honestly, it can only go up from here.
This was supposed to be a night of magic and whimsy, but some backstage blunders put a new spin on hitting your mark.
Coming up,
That was a bad idea.
there's more stupid charging your way. First, when it comes to pinhead parkers, this woman comes out on top. Then, if good fences make good neighbors, don't live next to these wannabe tree surgeons. And later, is it smart to combine superfine fillies with oversexed stallions? Nay. Don't flip out. There are more floundering fools ahead.
Oh, no.
On Most Daring, Dumb, and Dumber.
Parking 101, knowing the gas pedal from the brake. Unfortunately, this guy flunked. A confused customer manages to enter a store without exiting his vehicle. But he's not as surprised as everyone inside. At least this driver sticks around to assess the damage. But this lady isn't so considerate. With one slip of the foot, she turns her SUV into a monster truck. The demolition diva should probably leave a note. Instead, she just leaves. Thanks to the video of this smash and dash, the one-woman wrecking crew gets busted a few days later. Of course, her foolish flight seems downright genius compared to this man. After filling up at the pump, he decides to park and head inside. Only not in that order. The old lefty-righty mix-up creates another window shopper. And nearly makes a meal out of one patron. The flustered driver quickly backs out, then flees on foot,
Hey, man, get back over here.
leaving his vehicle for cops to identify him. Apparently, he missed Crime 101 too. Parkers everywhere take note. It's never good to be driving a car while your brain is stuck in neutral. Independence, Iowa. There's a reason it's not called an ice-mobile. But that doesn't stop Matt Michaels from taking his brand new snowmobile out on a frozen pond. Of course, when the frozen stuff starts splashing, maybe a sign that your plan isn't on solid footing. Nevertheless, little bro Clint is anxious to try. To clarify, little refers only to his age.
When the ice broke, I was thinking game over. I felt ridiculously stupid.
Now, it's hard to tell if Clint's expression is a fear of drowning or if he's just realized his big breakthrough was all caught on tape.
I was like a dumbass.
Clint has to wait until spring before he can dredge out the sled. But then after this heavyweight brain freeze, he's lucky he didn't wind up swimming with the fishes.
Yeah, dog.
It's the centerpiece of any lowrider exhibition. The Hydraulic Showdown.
That's what it do, baby.
That's all LA doing, baby.
Whichever car can bounce its nose the highest earns the title. But a ride named Chucky is ready to put everyone else to shame. For the owner, the sky's the limit. Actually, it's only the halfway point. Mr. Bounce is so focused on winning, he doesn't let off the button until it's too late. And nearly crushes the masses beneath his car. Yes, there is such a thing as too much hydraulics. But it's not all bad news. The owner does win the top prize of $1,000.
How about a big round of applause, people?
Just $7,000 less than it cost him to trick out his truck in the first place. Cha-ching! When a windstorm threatens the 40-foot tree beside your house, you can call a professional service, or you can grab a couple of belts. Guess which one these folks choose. The family noticed the roots bulging from the ground, so they put a couple of their best men to work. Let's see, a rope here, a cord there. That ought to do it, right? Hard to believe that didn't work. The massive trunk shreds the restraints like tissue paper. and nearly demolishes the home next door.
Well, doesn't look like it did too much damage.
Try telling that to the owners of the new treehouse.
I had a feeling it was going.
Way to speak up. At least the mishap has brought the two neighbors closer together. Mainly because they no longer have a fence. When covering a local sled race, there are some places a reporter just shouldn't stand.
Here they come down the hill.
Like on the finish line. At the very least, the hit knocks some sense into him.
That was a bad idea.
And he still gives a proper send-off.
At Riverside Park, Rob West, Global News.
The cameraman will help him walk it off.
You okay?
But next time this journalist covers a hard-hitting story,
Here they come down the hill.
he should tackle it from a different angle. Want to be on TV? Just send us a clip where you capture something totally wild, and we just might use it on the air. You can upload your video at uploadnash.com. Or send it to Most Daring, P.O. Box 1910, Hollywood, California, 90078.
Coming up, what were they thinking? First, to not see this rock slide, you'd have to be blind. Or this guy. Then, some not-so-handy animal handlers get fangs for their failures. And later, we kick off this week's Unfreaking Believable. And it's truly nuts. The boneheads just keep coming on Most Daring, Dumb and Dumber.
For people who live in the mountains, a rock slide is hard to miss. Especially one this big.
And it come all the way. You could hear it come across the road, hit the guardrail and everything.
But while some commuters stop to take pictures, one man is too busy watching the looky-loos to notice what they're looky-looing. Oops. An officer dashes to the boulders
I'm okay. Man, I didn't even see it.
and finds an embarrassed Andy Edmonds trying to steady his nerves.
Good Lord. I didn't even see that rock fall there. I'm lucky to have hit it in a way to not get too hurt.
Thankfully, he didn't get too seriously rocked when his distraction landed him on the Mount Rushmore of dumb drivers. A semi full of new shopping carts has just reached a retail outlet. The driver spent hours transporting the shiny cargo to this loading dock, but not long enough waiting for it to be removed. When the metal ramp hits the bed, the trucker thinks it's the door shutting. So he punches the gas and releases a shopping cart catastrophe. One that just keeps going. And going. One of these days it will stop. Talk about a cleanup on aisle 1.
Oh my God!
There are criminal masterminds. And then there's this genius. The pickaxe-wielding thief breaks into a bakery to score some quick dough. But the store's ATM has a pretty tough crust. The caveman approach to the theft leaves this meathead not just exhausted, but totally fried. The Axeman hits an electrical component, and his mug gets charred. The dazed perp doesn't know what hit him, or that he was whacking away at the part of the machine that doesn't hold money, or even that he's now leaving bloody fingerprints all over the place. The blunderjack departs, none the richer, leaving police with plenty of evidence. Cops soon track down the pilfering Paul Bunyan. It's the least they could do to save him from his own stupidity. Cameraman Serge Rothelli loves filming the more colorful species of Africa. Today, he gets a rare treat. A local introduces him to his pet boa constrictor. Serge quickly learns how the snake got its name as it wraps around his arm. Of course, if he thinks the pain in his wrist is bad, he should check his head. The jungle rook holds the reptile too far down its neck, leaving its head free to roam, and its razor-sharp fangs free to clamp his eyebrow. His snafu couldn't have been more obvious if it had jumped up and bit him on the... Oh, yeah. Of course, even the most imposing of animals can become a bit camera shy. At a film premiere, a famous animal trainer wants to make a splash by walking the king of the beasts down the red carpet. But just like some other Hollywood hellcats, this lion hates the flashbulbs of the paparazzi. He decides to take out his anger on his mindless manager. The not-so-friendly feline bursts his bubble and punctures his skin. Now fans at the event witness a much more horrifying show. The raging cat is quickly squirted with pepper spray. It does the trick. The celebrity handler may have come in like a lion, but he's going out like a lamb. Both of these animal lovers thought they could tame the wild beast, but they clearly didn't have a leg to stand on.
Straight ahead, it's finally time for this week's Unfreaking Believable. And this one is for all the marbles. And when you look this good on a horse, you don't have to know how to ride. But it helps. That's next on Most Daring, Dumb and Dumber.
Andalusia, Colombia. This parade marks the beginning of an annual fair. The decision to include contestants from the National Beauty Pageant is obviously smart, as they attract a big crowd. But the decision to include the mare this woman is on is not as wise. Because she's in heat. And this stallion is ready for action. The The large bronco's not interested in a three-way. So when he gets ready to sow his wild oats, the beauty queen gets thumped and dumped. And it's more than her heart that nearly gets trampled. The girl is understandably upset. After all, the horny horse didn't even ask for her number.
Focus, son.
Now, we're hitting you with a story so mind-blowingly outrageous.
Raking.
Only one word can do it justice. It's unfreaking believable. Who doesn't admire a guy that can take one on the chin? Well, these karate masters claim they can take one anywhere. Harnessing ancient Chinese secrets, these punching bags stomach blow after blow.
One.
And even a four-way smack attack.
Hardcore. 2, 3. Yeah.
What the?
But these guys said anywhere. So to all our male viewers, now might be a good time to go grab a beer. Because these dudes are putting their money where their cup should be. If you're cringing right now, 1, you're a guy. And 2, it's because that professional footballer just used his professional foot to kick one through the uprights. In fact, these manly men repeatedly get Jackie Chan in the Chuck Norris and are able to walk away smiling. That they can walk at all is miraculous.
That hurt my foot.
Let's face it, when it comes to having cojones, these nut jobs are painfully unfreaking believable.
There's not enough whiteout in the world to erase these idiots. And no amount of wishing will make them disappear. So if you don't want to live a life of infamy, measure twice, cut once, and do everything you can to avoid being called dumb and dumber.